Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. That's a verse we've all heard of before. But what exactly is Jesus saying here? Does he mean if I, whether married or not, look at a woman, whether married or not, in a sexual way, I've already committed adultery in my heart? Or if I, being a married man, look at a woman, whether married or not, in a sexual way, then I've committed adultery in my heart. Now, most people would probably say option A. If you look at a woman with sexual desire, even if you're both single, you've committed adultery in your heart. But is that really what Jesus meant? Is that what he was trying to show us? Let's dig into it. Jesus begins by saying, Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, that thou shalt not commit adultery. He's quoting from Exodus 20 verse 14. And the idea is expanded in Leviticus 18:20. In the Old Testament, adultery meant something very specific. Sexual relations where one person was married to someone else. Leviticus uses the phrase, to lie carnally. Yes, the Bible uses euphemisms a lot when dealing with topics like these. It then says, the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress, shall surely be put to death. Pretty harsh, right? But there's a reason for that. Back then, family was everything. Your land, your inheritance, your future, all tied to it. Land wasn't something you simply bought or sold. It was passed down through generations, father to son. And for women, life was especially hard. Once she left her father's house, she depended completely on her husband. She couldn't own land. Her security came from her husband and the children she bore him. If her husband died or divorced her, her options were few, either to go back to her father's house, sell herself into slavery, or become a prostitute. So if a woman was unfaithful, it wasn't just a personal issue. It could destroy the entire family line. If she bore another man's child, her husband's lineage could die out. If the man was unfaithful, he could create illegitimate heirs, and those children might one day fight the legitimate ones for inheritance. Sounds familiar? Think Isaac and Ishmael. Adultery wasn't just about broken trust. It was about survival, legacy, and justice. That's why the punishment was so severe. Now, with that background in mind, Jesus takes things to another level. He doesn't abolish the law. He deepens it. He connects two commandments. Thou shalt not commit adultery, and thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. The Greek word for lust in Matthew 5 actually means to desire. Not necessarily strong desire, just desire. And its use is in parallel to the word covet in Exodus. So when Jesus says, Whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, he's not talking about an innocent attraction. He's talking about a direct desire, a desire towards something that isn't yours to desire. So here's the question. Can an unmarried man commit adultery with an unmarried woman in his heart? By definition, no. That would be fornication, not adultery. Now don't get me wrong, fornication isn't right either. But that's not what Jesus was addressing here. He was confronting the Pharisees, men who believed they were righteous because they never acted on their lusts, even though they secretly fantasize about their neighbor's wife. And Jesus is saying, no, your thoughts matter too. If your heart covets what isn't yours, you're already guilty. Desire in itself isn't automatically sinful. It depends on where it leads. If an unmarried man desires an unmarried woman, that desire could lead somewhere good, like marriage. But if desire reaches towards another man's wife, there's no righteous outcome. That desire leads to only destruction. That's the heart of the issue Jesus was addressing. So let's sum it up. Jesus wasn't condemning every sexual thought or feeling. He was exposing a mindset. The mindset that says, I'm pure as long as I don't act on it. We all have natural desires. That's a part of being human. But what matters is what we do with those desires. If you're unmarried, don't feed your lust, because it can consume you and lead to sin. But feeling desire itself, when both are unmarried, is not what Jesus was calling adultery of the heart. He was commenting on how the people of his time interpreted the Ten Commandments. But that's all I've got for now. Go ahead and crucify me in the comment section. Let's seek to understand Scripture in its ancient Near Eastern context.